boy!
Roman is the biggest bad guy character in professional wrestling.
When's the last time you got laid?
French Toast is the exchange student that you have like a 3-week affair with.
Like, we can see that you don't have pants on.
Can we tell the truth about Dusty sooner or later?
Bro, less people wanted that than are currently watching our stream.
And you know Vince, and you still think, are these true? It's like...
Welcome to the Mark It Down podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Mark It Down podcast. It's me, James Gisanti, here on a Friday night to cover TNA Impact. So you know what that means. We're in the Gym-Packed zone. I wanted to wish everybody, I hope everybody had a happy Thanksgiving. It's the start of the holiday season, and I hope everybody had as good a Thursday as possible as we go into a very heavy pay-per-view weekend, as we had TNA Turning Point tonight, and tomorrow we have WWE Survivor Series. Now, no promises. It is Thanksgiving weekend. It's a little tough on all of us. We're all a little bit busy, but we are going to do our best to cover the show tomorrow because it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. But tonight was also a lot of fun as TNA presented, like I said, Turning Point. And Turning Point, they definitely had a weird vibe to this show. This show was being presented by WrestleCade. So TNA was... No red bubble is crazy, Eric said. You know, it's also crazy that I haven't had a producer boy on this show in years to do that red bubble for me. Especially because I know he's around today. But WrestleCade presented this show. So this was part of the wrestling convention that was down in North Carolina. A lot of fans showed up for this event. It was a very small venue, it looked like. Given the nature of what WrestleCade is, and given the nature of probably where it was held, but the camera angles, the sound, everything was presented a little bit differently tonight. It didn't look like your typical TNA program. It didn't have Happy Thanksgiving from Henny. Yeah. It didn't have the usual feel of a TNA production, for better or for worse, depending on who you're asking. But we started the night out with some one-on-one action between two very eager contenders for the TNA World title. Mike Santana and the self-proclaimed king of TNA, Frankie Kazarian. This was a good way to start the show. Santana has been building a lot of momentum, has been building up a lot of speed, and he just continues to inch his way closer to making his way towards a challenge for the TNA World title. Frankie Kazarian, who won the Call Your Shot Gauntlet match, is also a rightful contender for that title. And both men with those egos have definitely been on a crash course for one another. Crowd was into it. Crowd was very much pro Santana, definitely giving those chants. Santana went after Kazarian right out the gate. He tried everything he could to avoid the action Kazarian did. He leaned through the ropes, hid behind the referee, but it wasn't enough, and Santana was able to finally get his hands on him and gets to an early lead. Both men are going back and forth. I am going to keep tonight quick, guys, if I'm going to be honest with you. It is the holiday weekend. But the finish coming as Kazarian went to set up for the fade to black, and Santana was able to avoid it and hit a spin the block out of nowhere to get the 1-2-3. I think this is the right move because Santana is the one who needs to build momentum towards that title shot. He needs to earn his way towards a contendership, as opposed to Kazarian, who could cash in his Call Your Shot Gauntlet number one contender spot at literally any moment. For those who aren't super familiar with it, it is essentially TNA's Money in the Bank, and we've seen it be used in such a way several times over the years. So Frankie, along with every Money in the Bank winner before him and every basically number one contender guaranteed, superstar before him. He's probably going to lose a lot and then win that title out of nowhere. So good way to start the show. Santana is super hot. This crowd, like I said, ate him up, and he is just continuing on his way. We then went backstage with the System. Every member of the System backstage. Brian Myers is shown. I'm sorry, I said every member, but no JDC, no Johnny Dango Curtis. Brian vows that no one is going to see him in the turkey suit tonight, and boy, do I have a lot to talk about with that turkey suit. Moose then sends a message to Laredo Kid. X Division champion Moose sends a message to Laredo Kid ahead of his title defense tonight, saying it doesn't matter if he's sending him back to Mexico or Laredo, Texas, he is taking his mask. Eddie Edwards then finishes the promo with a message for Nick Nemeth, making it clear he is going to be the new TNA World Champion. We then go to the Turkey Bowl, the 2024 Turkey Bowl. This is a match. Oh boy, who do we got here? Producer boy. We had Joe Hendry taking on Brian Myers, Eric Young, John Schuyler, Hammerstone, and Rhino. So if you guys aren't familiar with TNA's Turkey Bowl, this is a somewhat annual tradition that has gone back nearly 20 years. The loser of the match is forced to humiliatingly wear a turkey suit for, I guess, the remainder of the night, or at least until the next show. How did we get here? How did we get here for Joe Hendry? Like, don't get me wrong. This is a fun traditional match. Whoops. This is a fun traditional match. This is a fun, what do we got here? Joe Hendry downfall watch successful. Ooh, that is a sad tweet, but I agree, and I'm kind of saying the same thing. This is a fun tradition match. This is a fun event every November for TNA. And don't get me wrong, it's fun to be involved in those things. It's not fun to be involved in those things when the last thing you were involved in was failing to win the TNA World Championship and riding such a wave of momentum and fan support. Now, was the crowd there for Hendry tonight? Absolutely. Of course they're going to be. The crowd was giving their all for most of the night. And quite frankly, I guess the right guy won here, but this is not what Joe Hendry should be doing. In a main event that has Nick Nemeth versus Eddie Edwards, and no disrespect to Eddie Edwards, what are we doing with Joe Hendry in the turkey match? Remember this tweet, remembering when people wanted Joe Hendry to replace Chad Gable in the Money in the Bank ladder match. Look, I know stuff like this isn't going to last. I know the chances of seeing Hendry in the Royal Rumble are very high. I know that Joe Hendry will probably win the TNA World title before he leaves. Shouldn't be wasting our time now, though. That's what just feels so weird. This tweet, not a Joe Hendry fan, but the way TNA has fumbled the popularity he had is wild. Classic TNA, though. See, to a degree, sure, but if we're going to be honest, TNA has almost got the opposite rep. They're known for putting that title on anybody they think is going to give them a boost in popularity. They're known for doing whatever they can to garner attention and views and people talking about them. That's what makes this Hendry situation so weird. I have to believe in my head they know he is a guarantee to not be sticking around for long, and they don't want to invest in putting the title on him. And I get that to an extent. But you have him until at least the summer of 2025. There is no reason you can't put the title on him for the next few months and then have Santana be the guy to take the title off of him. Now, granted, they are in a weird position because they had three popular contenders thrust upon them basically at the same time. They had a Nick Nemeth who fans have been wanting to see get a proper run as a world champion for years. I know Nick Nemeth doesn't have the same shine on him that the newer toys do, but people have been fans of Nick Nemeth for a very long time. You have Mike Santana, who came in with a lot of buzz from his AEW departure and making it known he wants to be a singles guy, and quite frankly, has spent his entirety of his TNA run proving why he probably deserves that. And, of course, Joe Hendry, who has been just a monumental, like, wow, lightning in a bottle moment with him, and we are just not putting the cap on that bottle. So by the time you have to put the title on Santana, you're going to lose unity with Hendry. It just feels like a very weird move. It feels like a very poor booking decision. And they handled it well with Jordan Grace, which feels the weirdest because arguably she's going to be gone sooner if I'm not. I think she's going to be in WWE by January. So, and they had let her have a monumental and epic, historic TNA Knockouts title run. But they're just not doing it with Hendry here, and that just feels weird. Maybe they want to... Nope, not even going to read the tweet because it's a lie. Maybe they just don't want to establish that if you're the TNA champion for the men or for the women, that's not the stepping stone to WWE. Maybe that's the message they want to put out. But I don't know. Personally, this just feels like such a waste after all the genuine, after all of the natural fan support that was built in TNA, all the goodwill that was built in TNA with Hendry, to just let it go to waste just feels wrong. But let's say we got this tweet here. Joe Hendry can feel people forgetting about him. In just a few months, it went from people telling me how he's absolutely the next big thing to him begging to be noticed by the Riddler. Jesus. The Rizzler. My bad, guys. Apparently, he's a Batman villain. Look, I will say in this instance, Hendry has always been this guy, and I don't blame him. It's worked. He was tweeting at Eminem for the last pay-per-view. He's known for trying to get himself viral. Hell, it makes sense for him to want to partner up with the Costco guys. They have very similar mentalities. Either way, very big bummer for his place on the card. It's crazy how fast the Joe Hendry hype died. I hope he still gets his Rumble moment. Look, I think the hype died because you have this WrestleMania moment for Hendry at Bound for Glory, and then you don't give it to him. It's just bad booking. I think it'll recapture. I think the moment he debuts at the Rumble, the moment or if he does debut at the Rumble, or whenever he decides, whenever the contract is up and he switches sides, I think we're going to see the support show up again. He's naturally charismatic. He is naturally entertaining, and he is good in the ring. So I think the fans, I think the crowd are going to get behind him again. It's just, what a fumble here. Absolute fumble. But going back to the match itself, like I said, it was Hendry versus Brian Myers, Eric Young, John Schuyler, Hammerstone, and Rhino. At one point, there was a little bit of a scary moment as medical attention needed to be brought for Hammerstone mid-match. The match, of course, did continue with the rest of the competitors, and hopefully nothing too serious happened with Hammerstone, who has been injured in the past. The finish of the match coming with Joe Hendry hitting an attitude adjustment. Somebody is angling for a match. An attitude adjustment on Brian Myers, and then Eric Young, and Rhino play to the crowd. Rhino hits the gore. Young whips him into it. The fans just keep chanting turkey. I'm sorry. That was after the match. The finish coming after a standing ovation from Hendry, getting the 1, 2, 3, pinning Brian Myers. So at this point, all three baby faces, Eric Young, Rhino, and Joe Hendry, just have their way with Brian Myers and force him into the turkey suit. A turkey suit that if he does not wear, he will be fired. I would take the pink slip. I'm just saying. I would take that notice. But anyway, we then go backstage where Rosemary is shown in an empty stairwell talking Rosemary thoughts. She doesn't care if it's Jordan Grace or Masha Slamovich. She says, we have our set sight on the shiny, shiny prize. She says that we want it and we will take it. We will take everything good in your lives, a harvester of despair. She lets out one big old laugh, very scary, and assures there is nothing anyone can do to stop her. We then go into our X Division title match as Moose defends against Laredo Kid. This was a beatdown. This was designed just to show how dominant Moose is going to be in this division. He obliterated Laredo Kid. Laredo Kid did start to show some signs of life, but after getting some cheap shots from Alicia Edwards and just Moose's overall superiority or dominance, I should say, he goes for the Spanish Fly. He only gets a 2 count, but after that, Moose is able to quickly get up and run through him with a massive spear to get the 1, 2, 3. This match was fine for what it was. Here we go. Yeah, Moose just throwing Laredo Kid into that barricade on the outside. And again, that's just to show you how this venue looked. It's hard. I appreciate TNA doing fun stuff and trying to have the convention be a unique home for the event, but a lot of it just didn't translate well, in my opinion. It looked very indie. It looked very small scale. And we know that TNA, especially this year, is capable of way more. So I hope this isn't something that they try to regularly replicate or recreate. We then go to what was probably my match of the night as Steve Macklin, all decked out in face paint and war paint, took on his heated rival, Josh Alexander, the walking weapon, in a no disqualification match. This match had everything you would expect from a no disqualification match. There were chairs, there were doors, there were tables. Macklin showing a ferocity that we, quite frankly, his character, we have been wanting to see for a long time as a babyface. He even showed some signs of his arrogance, some signs of his old heelish self by having the opportunity to have pinned Alexander midway through the match and choosing not to, choosing to inflict more damage to the man who has been causing him stress and just overall rage for the last 2 years. The finish of the match coming after Macklin had gotten one of those small black bags that we're all familiar with, those mystery bags. And instead of having glass, instead of having thumbtacks, instead of having Lego, as we've seen, instead we have bullet shells. I thought this was really cool. It's something we haven't seen, I don't think, ever. And it suits Macklin so well. He picks up Alexander and he goes for the KIA, but Alexander is able to kick Macklin low. He then hooks him for a C4 spike that he tries to hit off the middle rope, but Macklin is able to avoid it and hits Alexander with a super KIA off the top rope onto the shell casings and gets the 1, 2, 3. At that point, Hannafin, I love the guy, calls Steve Macklin bulletproof. Well done. Great way to cap this feud. A lot of people are speculating whether or not we're going to see Josh Alexander anywhere else. If we're going to see him, let's see. We got 2 comments. Danny, Redbubble is a good place to get stuff. I agree. I do like the occasional Redbubble t-shirt. KIA, killed in action. It's awkward now. I don't know how to follow that up. Anyway, lots of speculation about the future of Josh Alexander. He's made it clear that he is. Are we sponsored? Not to my knowledge. Oh, it's okay. Puppy love out there. Josh Alexander's future very much up in the air right now, as we've seen that he has retired. I am not doing this. I am not doing this. It's not my fault, I promise. I'm going to get through this sentence. Josh Alexander having retired from indie appearances. He will not be making any future indie appearances moving into the new year. Lots of speculation as to once his TNA contract is up, can we expect to see him somewhere else? A lot of people are hoping for a reunion for the team The North between him and Ethan Page, maybe in NXT. Maybe he makes his way to AEW, or who knows? Maybe he just doesn't want to do indies anymore and he'll stay in TNA. But lots of speculation about the status of his contract, when it'll be up. I believe it's up in sometime in 2025, and where we will see him end up afterwards. And Macklin, who I've been a big proponent of here on the pod, very happy to see him grab this huge win and hopefully help put him in a good direction moving forward. Obviously, there's a lot of space being taken in the main event scene. But if they want to put Macklin in a great spot, maybe get him a tag partner with Eric Young, have them go for the tag titles. That's not a bad way to go. The Digital Media Championship, also another great way to go. We'll see. I also do want to comment on Macklin's very powerful video that he put out on TNA on Impact last week. Dealing with PTSD, dealing with the struggles of returning home from combat. Very powerful stuff. I know I didn't get to cover the pod. I haven't been doing Gympact the last few weeks. That will be changing with this video. Starting tonight, we will be back with the Gympact for next week for Thursday for TNA Impact. But great work from Macklin. I know this was a passion project of his for a very long time. It's been talked about, and I think he absolutely nailed it. I've seen nothing but positive response to it, and I'm very glad that he got to put that out there into the world. So good on Steve Macklin, who's just having a great few weeks with TNA. Hopefully he could catapult into something bigger. But after this, we have our 6-man tag, as we have the Hardys, Matt and Jeff, the TNA World Tag Team Champions, teaming up with Ace Austin, one half of the ABC, still sending our best to Chris Bay, who we are hoping has a successful recovery, a speedy recovery, and just overall the best health wishes to Chris Bay as they took on Zachary Wentz and Kushida. Now, it was supposed to be the Rascals. Trey Miguel was supposed to be with Zachary Wentz, but we heard that he had travel issues. He couldn't make it to WrestleCade, and he couldn't make it to the event, so they had a mystery partner. And bro, they delivered. It was Matt Riddle. The crowd ate this up. What a beautiful comment from Daniel Hernandez. Your channel is delightful. You bring immense knowledge and bombastic energy to every show. Thank you, Mr. Hernandez. I appreciate that so much. I don't need Riddle in TNA. Let me just put that out there. I do not need I do not need Riddle in TNA. He is a lot of trouble, and TNA already has a lot of people who can be a lot of trouble on their roster, as they have just recently signed officially the Hardys to a contract. I said what I said. I know what I said. We're moving on from what I said. I'm all for second chances, and TNA is the home of second chances and third chances, sometimes even fifth chances. But little worried about Riddle being there. Don't know what we're doing. There you go. I am a little worried about Riddle being there, but I'm willing to give it a chance. I don't need him there. If this was a one-off because of WrestleCade, we'll see. Matt Riddle and TNA. I'm seeing Moose spearing people and just obliterating people. I don't know if there's supposed to be sound or something there, producer boy, but I don't know what I'm getting here. Do I need Riddle in? Danny. No, I don't need Ritalin. I need a nap though. Although at this hour, is it a nap still? It's just sleep, right? But anyway, this was a fine match. This was a good match. And I love if you're gonna bring in Riddle for something like this, I love the callback to their time in NXT together. As it was Zachary Wentz who introduced Riddle to the crowd tonight, saying that he knew he needed somebody, and he thought he could only think of one person, somebody who's going to come to the treehouse several times before, and that was their shaman, the bro, Matt Riddle. Great way to reference their time together in NXT between MSK and Matt Riddle. Fun stuff. The match itself was fine. It felt more like a house show kind of match where you just see these guys getting their spots in. Matt and Jeff, and I know I'm going to sound biased, and that's fine. I'm allowed. Let's see what we got here. Jeff Hardy versus Matt Riddle. Oof. 420 champion, baby. TNA referenced this, and I didn't even remember it. Apparently, Riddle and Jeff teamed up together in the past. I believe it. Couldn't tell you when. No recollection of it whatsoever, but I believe it. But I know I'm going to get flack for it. I don't care. Matt and Jeff look so much better in TNA than they were in the last run in AEW. Matt is moving so much better than he was moving in AEW. Jeff is doing very well. The crowd is into him here. This was the right move. It's unfortunate how we got here. It's unfortunate that I can't look at those comments. It's unfortunate that Jeff couldn't keep it together in AEW so they could get that AEW tag team title run, but it is what it is. But they seem to have landed in a place where they're going to be very successful. So the Hardys are looking great in the ring right now. And Ace Austin, I'm heartbroken about Chris Bay. We were talking about it here on the pod that I didn't know where the ABC tag team was going to go. I was a huge fan of both men. I am a huge fan of both men, both Austin and Bay. But it felt like one of those men was going to climb a little bit higher than the other. And again, I hate how we got here, but it seems now Austin's got a chance to go after the X Division title again, a belt he hasn't held in several years. So he's in that number one contenders match that we're going to see on Thursday night on Impact. And I hope he gets the win, and I hope he gets to go for the X Division title, because him versus Moose will be a banger. I have been putting my money into Ace Austin being the face of TNA. If TNA is smart, they will invest in Ace Austin. He's got the look, he's got charisma, he's got the moveset, he's got it all. Put your money into Ace Austin. It will come back to you tenfold. So hopefully that gets done. Danny saying Jeff will Jeff eventually. I don't want to believe that. I believe in 6 chances. The Hardys and Ace get the win as they take out, I believe it was Kushida? Yeah, I think it was Kushida that they pinned. After the match, all 6 men have a feel-good moment in the ring, shaking hands and just showing respect to Riddle and everybody else. We then go on to a very fun match, a very necessary match to help establish things moving forward, as Masha Slamovich, the current knockout. What do we got here? Matt Riddle, Ridge Holland, and Jericho moving into the biggest year of 2025. Danny saying that CM Punk Roman segment was just fine, but the internet is going to act like it was the greatest thing ever. It was all right. I mean, it's intriguing. It's definitely intriguing, but it was all right. And I also don't care. Like, Roman Punk is a big match. It's not like there's anything I'm invested in there. And yes, famous NXT superstar Kushida, former cruiserweight champion Kushida, if I remember correctly. But 2 out of 3 falls match as Knockouts champion Masha Slamovich defends against former Knockouts champion Jordan Grace. This match went the distance as we had 2-1. Jordan Grace getting the first fall after back and forth pin attempts between both women. Eventually, Grace getting the upper hand and eventually able to get the momentum and get the pin 1, 2, 3. This then went to near a tie really quickly as Slamovich went for a double stomp into the cover, but Jordan was able to kick out of it. The crowd was super into this. We were getting women's wrestling chants. We were getting a lot of love for these two women who have just proven time and time again how good they are and what they bring to this division. Well, for a little bit longer, at least. Don't know how much longer Jordan Grace is going to be bringing anything to the Knockouts division. Eventually, though, we do get that 1-1 tie as Slamovich is able to get a roll-up cradle out of nowhere and get a 3 count, tie things up 1-1. And then almost immediately afterwards, just the fight just keeps going. Both women are just ground and pounding one another, just rolling around, beating the crap out of each other until Slamovich is able to blast Grace in the face with a knee and follow up with a sit-out power bomb. She immediately follows through with a package pile driver for the pinfall victory, getting that over Jordan Grace, the Juggernaut. Should be noted that around halfway through, Rosemary came out and was just watching, and by the end of the match, she was still watching. So it does seem like we're going to be getting Rosemary versus Masha Slamovich sooner than later. Maybe a final resolution. Now, you know it. It's main event time. Nick Nemeth defends against Eddie Edwards, defending the TNA World Championship. I'll be the first to admit, didn't need this match. This did not feel like a pay-per-view main event match, but it did deliver. By the end, we got there. From a purely in-ring, from a purely action standpoint, both men absolutely deliver. Have I been? No, I haven't. Have you? Maybe I'll be down. Let me know. Send me an invite. Danny saying it would have been better as an in-ring promo between Punk and Roman. Probably, almost definitely, but ever since the Roman and Cody promo thing, that cinematic masterpiece that we got, this is just what they're going to be doing with Roman moving forward. It is what it is. It's not bad, but it's not necessary. But yeah, match for this started out a little slow. Both men, getting their all, throwing everything they have at each other. Fans chanting Alicia sucks. Alicia Edwards, of course, Eddie's wife and valet for this match. And of course, we got some fuck the system chants. Eventually, the finish coming after Alicia Edwards, who had been removed from ringside, but comes back. She starts distracting Nick Nemeth. She, while the referee is distracted by Eddie, hits Nick with the TNA World Championship. What is this tweet? If you could go back to that, producer boy, I missed that. I'm sorry. I hear TNA has a disaster class main event. LMAO. Nick Nemeth. I mean, look, again, fine match. Shouldn't be a world championship main event at your pay-per-view. It just shouldn't. You could do that on Impact on a Thursday. This is not it. And, they played into the fact that the last man to pin Nick Nemeth one-on-one was Eddie Edwards 6 months ago. I get that. I don't care. It shouldn't have been this match. Not on a pay-per-view. Even if you are treating this pay-per-view like a smaller one, like a B pay-per-view, you shouldn't do it. You just shouldn't do it. But as the referee is distracted by Eddie Edwards, Alicia hits Nick Nemeth with the World Championship to the face. This allows Eddie Edwards to roll him up, but Nick is able to kick out of it. Eddie then hits him with a Boston knee party, but once again, Nick Nemeth kicking out of it. That was big. It's not something you see all that often, if ever. At this point, what's his name? Brian Myers comes down to the ring, still decked out, complete turkey suit. As he's about to get in the ring and do something, I don't know what, JBL appears once again from the crowd. He comes in, grabs Brian Myers by the arm, and hits him with a nasty clothesline from hell. The fans are chanting JBL, and I think that's a first. He then just leaves the ring and exits once again throughout the crowd without saying anything or explaining anything. I'm so sorry. These dogs are going crazy. And this is just what, the third or fourth time that JBL has gotten involved in a Nick Nemeth match and affecting the outcome. I don't know if it's Nemeth. I don't know if it's the system. I think it's got to be Nemeth because he got involved in the Joe Hendry match. But I don't know why we're here, but we're here. Nemeth then dragged himself back into the ring, as does Eddie Edwards. Both men are mixing it up. Nemeth landing a super kick and then the danger zone, or if you're from the uninitiated, a zigzag, and he gets the pin. With that win, Nick Nemeth is still our TNA World Champion. Commentary says that it's about time we get some answers regarding JBL's relationship with Nemeth, as Nick Nemeth sends us home posing with the title. Guys, this was fine. I hate to be let's see. We got JBL got involved at a GCW show too. Yeah, he's been getting involved in a lot of things. He got involved with an Alberto Del Rio match. He got involved with, I think, a Matt Cardona match. And Eric saying maybe a stable. Look, maybe that's fine, but this has been going on for a couple months with literally no explanation. And all I know is he helped cost Joe Hendry the world title. So at this point, I kind of don't care. But I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt. I'm willing to see what it's like. I am just shocked. I did not have 2024, 2025 bingo card saying JBL in a company that isn't WWE. So it's still a big, big deal. But yeah. Or is Nemeth hiring JBL? They've hinted that he doesn't seem to know what's going on with him and JBL, but granted, he could be lying. Quite frankly, I think you need to turn Nemeth heel so this works. Whoever takes the title off him, whether it's Hendry or Santana, you don't want a mixed reaction, so go with it. But I don't know what we're doing right now. Quite frankly, I enjoyed tonight's show. There were some bright spots, like I said. Josh Alexander versus Steve Macklin, Masha Slamovich versus Jordan Grace for the Knockouts title in the 2 out of 3 falls match. These were fun spots, and even Santana versus Kazarian to start out the night. But just this felt very much like filler, and that's a bummer. That's a bummer. Oh yeah, this was a fun spot. Jeff Hardy with a Canadian Destroyer to Matt Riddle. I think this might be the first time I've ever seen Jeff hit a Canadian Destroyer. I don't get it. I love it. Jeff, like I said, is definitely having fun right now in TNA, as is Matt. So the more, the merrier. I love it. Just keep it coming. And just it'll be very interesting to see who goes after those tag titles. But guys, I'm James Gisanti. This is the Mark It Down podcast. And because we were covering TNA, this is the Gym Pack Zone. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. We will be doing our best to cover Survivor Series tomorrow. We hope to see you there. We hope to be there. We'll keep you posted. You know the deal. Follow us on social media. We're everywhere. Facebook, X, TikTok, Instagram, apparently now Blue Sky. Cool. Everywhere. We're doing our best. We're spreading the love. And we just got some love from Big Justice and AJ tonight on Twitter, or I guess X. So go check it out there. Go check out the tweet. Like it. Exit. I guess. I don't know what the word is. And yeah, we love you. Thank you. Hit that like button here. Please subscribe. The more, the merrier, the more we can do. Have a great night. Producer boy, take us home.